Welcome back, everyone. It's been 2 weeks. My players are extremely punchy, which is horrible
Actually,
for
3
me.
weeks.
Three,
New blood, new blood, new blood.
oh god. But all things considered, we are jumping into our final arc of this season, and then we have one more season to go after that. Um, But as always, we will go around and do any sort of plugs and promotions that people might want to do.
Hi, I'm Slay, pronouns they, them. My Twitter is at Sons of Warvan, Sons _of_Warvan. I'm a TTRPG performer. Nothing to promote right now, but I got a couple things in the works that might be coming out soon. Who knows? I certainly don't.
Uh, it's me, your obvious favorite, Little Legend. And today I actually would like to give you guys a small, not a preview, but like a warning? I don't know. So I finally gathered my guts in my fist and decided to start on a very important project of mine, which I've been kind of imagining for the last 2 years. It's called Your World on a Plate. It's a comic about a flat planet created by a lazy god and people who live on it. It's it's a work in progress. It's a passion project, so I'm not expecting much feedback, but I'm working on it. The blog is a work in progress yet, but the moment when I am ready to show it to the public, I will be sending the link into our delightful server here. Um, and of course, I will be posting the work in progress on my art blog on Tumblr, which is littlelegend-arts. So if you would like to see me learn how to draw and learn how to draw comics specifically, and like develop my small little kind of a passion project, I'm not going to ask for money for it for a while because it's on the even earliest and the early stages. But I'm really excited to finally let it out into the world, and I really hope to receive your guys' support. Thank you very much.
Hi there, I am Silver Sugar, aka Risa, and I am a TTRPG performer, writer sometimes, and I also make art and do YouTube and play games, all that jazz. You can find me most places on the internet as Silver Sugar or X Silver Sugar, and I am open for art commissions at Pay What You Want right now, and it would mean a hell of a lot to me if you could do that. I have some potentially out-of-pocket medical bills that I'm going to be having to deal with, and they're bad. So any help there would be greatly appreciated. I really don't normally like to show like this, but yeah. Anyway, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Vance, anything? This is new for you, so I don't know if you have anything or not.
Welcome, by the way.
I have no presence online, so I don't need to promote anything.
Another wise
Ghost.
being. So, however, I do have a couple of standard type of announcements always. One, obviously, we have a new player and character for this final arc, and probably going into the next season, depending on how schedulings align and such. Additionally, as always, we hit that 50 follower mark. We will have a Lower Decks 2-shot. I will run my players through whatever wild bullshit I can come up with. We are actually only 6 followers away from that, so if you are presently watching on YouTube or are watching via Twitch here and just have not hit follow yet, we would greatly appreciate that. And I'm sure my players would love to get that Lower Decks 2-shot. Finally, the next 2 episodes, as well as per announcement, because we were just talking about this, we will have Lucas back for 2 episodes. So, look forward to that. But other than that, I think we should all be ready to jump into the game, yeah?
I'm so excited!
Let's do it!
Alright.
Woo!
And we'll be back in just a second.
And I know how to get stuff.
Nice. Well, welcome back.
Oh, that's terrifying.
This is how we start
okay,
the
in other
session,
news,
yeah.
I guess Lynn's a spy. But jumping into the game now.
Shh.
Fucking
Lynn is
Christ.
FBI.
Anyways, Kana, you have been summoned to Starfleet Academy because that is about the only place where you can it's the place where you've been summoned to go over your particular posting again, which has been met with a little bit of resistance here and there. But something that has caught your attention is there's talk of Commander Jaloran giving some sort of seminar talk, but that doesn't sound right to you because though you don't keep high tabs on the commander, you know for a fact that she was recently on shore leave, because I don't think Trill is technically the thing that is listed. I think it's just listed as shore leave. I think that's how Jaloran would rather it be.
Yep.
Was on shore leave and would not have had time to create a seminar, and it just something like that feels very off to you. That like it's that feeling you have when you know something just it's that instinct, that sixth sense that you know that this seminar and this hall, that this sort of, I guess, talk is going to happen feels wrong.
Would I be able to tap into, because I assume the lecture halls have cameras and stuff for the lectures to be recorded and stuff for later viewing.
They do.
Would I be able to? I would like to find a console and try and tap into the lecture hall's camera systems.
All right. You definitely can do that. I am going to make you roll for that. I'm going to
Of
list
course.
2 things out of this. One, you are presently, in this moment, you still attain the rank of an ensign. But more importantly, you're technically hacking into Starfleet Academy, which it is not like deep, like, Admiralty files, but it's still kind of secure. So, with that being the case, this is going to be, I think this is going to be daring security, and I am going to have you roll at a difficulty of 3.
So that'll be 15. Would my focus in hacking?
Yes.
Alright. So I would like to give you a threat for an extra die.
Perfect. Love to hear it.
And rolling. And there's no complication range, correct?
No complication range here.
So I got a 5, a 15, and an 8. And I think that 5... that's not...
Okay, so it is just straight success. Okay. With that, you were able to pull up sort of a hollow vid. It's not a huge one because you don't really want to announce to the whole frickin' campus that you're just hacking into systems all, willy-nilly. But looking into it, something that you are noticing immediately is, well, these are cadets, and they are, they're advancing to, like, different fields of study and advanced type of classes and stuff. They are not officers. They do not have the experience that you have yet.
Mm-hmm.
And something that you can see is, one, the commander doesn't possess any shadow. Not realistically. Not that you can see. It doesn't feel like a tangible shadow of any kind. I mean, there is, like, the lightest bits of a shadow, but it's like a shadow being reflected off of, like, per se, like a screen window. Like, there is a little bit of shadow, but it doesn't look right.
Like a holographic shadow?
It looks like a holographic shadow. On top of that, the moment, like, she, begins to, like, say, welcome, thank you, and all of, like, the sort of the standard fare that would go down in terms of, like, the beginnings of a seminar. The voice sounds like it's really hard to hear, but does sound like someone's really tried cleaning it up, but can't fully do it. It sounds like there's, like, cracking, like static crackling in her talking,
Mm-hmm.
as well as, it almost feels like there's this undertone of, like, this, tonidal, like, pitching noise. It doesn't.
If it's a hologram, then it's going to be transmitted from somewhere. Can I find out where that is? If it's official Starfleet channels or if it's from somewhere else?
Okay. Oh my god, you might be the trigger. So, again, you can look for this. The difficulty is going to go, is going to be 3 again. But this is also going to be this is going to be insight security, because you're looking for something.
Alright.
And I will say this, because you gave me a threat, and because of the amount of people I have right now as players, I'm going to spend 5 threat right now.
Oh boy.
Oh god.
Okay, so I have... So hacking I would have used to get into the system. Would my focus of computers be more at play in here for looking for something instead of trying to hack the code?
Yes, looking for computers would help.
Okay.
I will
And then
say, I will say
Go ahead.
this: any complication that comes up, because I'm not a GM that's gonna give you nothing, even if you roll poorly, because poor rolls don't mean you don't get something out of it. But I will say, if you hit anything in a complication range, you already know that someone who is as meticulous as Jaloran, who tries very hard to make sure that her presence is not like fucked with, even if it's not perfect, the fact that someone got this far makes them a very dangerous person. And so I will tell you, you might be able to track them. Any complication range is going to have catastrophic results.
So I would like to use a value.
Okay.
Everything can be analyzed.
All right.
So that's 2 successes, and we have no momentum still, so I'm going to give you a threat for an extra die.
All right.
So anything below 4 will also be a crit, so I already have 2 successes. So rolling. Oh dear. So I got 2 successes and a natural 20.
Okay.
So
You
yes,
are
a
able
complication.
to find the beginnings of the trail, so to speak. This digital trail that has been left behind, because even in the 24th century, surprise, surprise, internet presence is really fucking hard to erase. Unless you're a very skilled individual, and you can tell you're already against someone who definitely is way above your skill level. And you're able to track at least a portion of it, like you can track it through like satellites and probes and stuff between different sector like communication buoys, and it does reflect finally all the way back onto Earth. You don't have an idea of where on Earth, but its origin is on Sol, which has a whole bunch of other implications to it. But the moment that happens, you can see, like through the holovid, this Jaloran imposter toss lift the comm badge off the person and throw it into the crowd. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Connor, you are still very close to this hall.
Mm-hmm.
You have one action to choose here. How do you want to respond to this? Because you don't know what this is going to do, but it's just been tossed into the crowd.
I assume that I would have a handler, so I would be sending the information I've gotten directly to my handler and immediately trying to beeline for the hole to see if I can help if something happens.
All right. You were able to send it as it gets uplinked and begins sending through the networks, as there's no noise, surprisingly. It is just a loud panic and then dead silence as you look behind you, and you have barely missed your foot moving out of the way inches away where there was like a seminar hall and building. It is just gone, like it's imploded or just vanished. It's like a hole. At the same time, over at the Madrid field office, right as Jaloran has been setting down things and has this really intense, upsetting feeling, Jaloran, you have systems in place. You have all your like emergency like red flag systems for like what you might have I don't know what you would title them, worst case scenario or something like that, but they're all going off. Like it's one of those like programs you've set up as like a cautionary thing that you would hope like I've set this up and with any luck it will never go off in my career, and it's all lighting up red right now.
Her first action is to put out an emergency call for the command team to report immediately to the sec command. Would it be fair to say, like, I have, like, at some point, like, gotten permission to have, like, a little notification of, like, that thing going off as well? No. Whoa. Okay, so I was gonna say a thing just as a joke. Now I'm intrigued.
But as all of you have been at the Madrid office have been summoned to the conference room, one element that is different as you all enter, as you all enter, is usually it is just the commander. The admiral has also joined in this.
Piss.
She's more
Please tell
hands-on
me
than
Kawhi
the
said it
previous
out loud.
admirals.
Please tell me Kawhi said it out loud.
You know what? Yeah.
You're kind of like trying to stifle her laughter because she heard.
Totally,
Yeah,
just because
you get a
people have
pretty-
serious face on. That's totally why.
Yeah, and you get a pretty stern look from Jaloran.
Everyone
and
has-
Leora. I was
Yeah.
and Leora. Not
The
like now is very much not the time. So
the admiral kind of looks to Kavai and Mira's behavior, the stern looks that you have given them, but also gives sort of a questioning look to you, Commander, of, is this going to be a regular occurrence? Adding to, I don't know how you want to...
Have they looked at my file?
She's looked at everything.
I have no regret. I have no regrets. I'm a decorated hero. I have the right to fucking put my fucking legs on the table.
Well, all of you have been summoned by your commanding officer, so I suggest you take a seat. Commander, the floor is yours. I will stand over here.
she is going to pull up whatever it is that triggered the alarms, and she's like in the briefest way possible, she's going to say it is like, yeah, this is the backup alarms. This was not supposed to go off at any point, but here's what did trigger them. So we need to get on top of this ASAP.
Jaloran, your network is very fast. Let me bring that up also. Also, in addition to that, Connor, your handler is also very quick in terms of sending things to the commander, because he is still part of the Madrid field office. Though he is part of a different team, he still does fall under Jaloran's command, but Jaloran... There's just things we don't see with Jaloran's command style, which is Jaloran does a lot of open trust, something that maybe Admiral Jabril isn't a fan of, but for you, Jaloran, a video, like a quick recorded video feed comes up from a Lieutenant Commander Daniel Langley, who is a human male. He's in his upper 50s, and the video he brings up is, at least maybe for you, Jaloran, also very concerning, but for certainly the rest of you, very concerning. The holovid shows a Jaloran at Starfleet Academy. The timestamp is basically, at this point, 22 minutes ago. In addition to that, like, Jaloran, you can spot a lot of the flaws out of there, but to an untrained eye, and even your eyes are having, like, yes, there was safety implements in place, but the fact that they got very close to, nothing's going to be perfect, but it's very close, and that is wildly concerning. For, per se, someone like Mira or Kavai, there's almost no way to tell.
What about me? But Laura,
You have enough experience through lifetimes to know about people's habits, and you can see a couple of things that don't resonate with Jaloran, but you could definitely see, if you didn't know Jaloran as well as you do now, you wouldn't be able to tell.
By the time the clip is done, it's like Jaloran's face clearly looks very much like a thunderstorm. This is the most pissed off any of you have ever seen her.
Oof. I think like Kavai has like a moment where they open their mouth and then immediately shut it.
Mira too. She's like squinting into the screen like very heavily, trying to like at least see a little bit of maybe what's wrong, something an uncanny valley maybe, but she isn't seeing it, and she is seemingly like super disturbed by that.
The fact that there isn't any real noticeable flaws for you, Mira, probably makes it more upsetting.
Yeah, exactly.
so did we watch the whole clip?
Yeah.
With including where what happened to the people in the room?
The cameras will cut out, but from what you can see, it looks like there was almost like a tachyonic expanse and then implosion. Via
Mira sort of wanted
potentially
to ask.
wormhole technology that has been weaponized.
So this happened. This is timestamped 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
There has to be like active reporting going on right now from like at scene. Like something like that does not happen unless like I'm pulling up news feeds.
It much like anything like that, recordings and Federation media spreads like a wildfire. And some of them have the correct speculations, some of them don't. Like some's like, potential like, another synth attack ? Or something like that, or questioning the one that's really the ones that can be really alarming is questioning the officer's character, and
I am gonna also
narratives
start
that are beginning to diverge.
Yeah, I'm gonna start flagging anything that we would recognize as being closer to the truth, but I'm also gonna put major flags on anything that is like obvious, like spreading of lies that are like in like what's the word, like too quickly and obviously false to be anything but like some sort of propaganda and or like spin, because like that would be immediately something she would just, that if she's done enough of that shit on her own to like be like, nah.
The as all of that is happening and you're going through Jaloran and you're trying to go through things, you can see Admiral Jabril kind of doing this. Clearly has some sort of implanted earpiece, as opposed to typical Starfleet officers who have an external like comm badge. She has an internal one and does use like mental synapse to communicate the message, because no one needs to know what she's thinking. But also kind of makes a gesture like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then she does speak up for a moment. Commander, if I may, we do have a member of the Madrid field office who is presently in the area at the time. If you would prefer, I could have a site-to-site transport.
Yes, that would be preferable. Thank you, Admiral.
Do it. And kind of things move really fast for you right now, and they have not decided, and it has not decided to slow down because you haven't been getting any warning as you are beamed into the conference room of what you can see as the Madrid field office for the command team, which doesn't usually happen. You're usually a couple of levels down dealing with the other team.
Mm-hmm.
You pop in just as Jaloran turns to Commander. Leora, pull up Dr. Atherton's research files, please.
Already pulled up, Commander.
The wormhole
And-
research.
Yeah, got it. And like it's already on Leora's pad as you asked that, like they had the same thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of look between the two, like just sort of like wordlessly questioning, like we're not thinking they had anything to do with that, right? Like just sort of like a wordless, like, hang on. But they don't voice
One of the
it.
things- Are we
but
talking
Jaloran does
about
notice.
universes?
Sorry, that was muffled.
Nah, you sorry. You continue your stuff.
Jaloran did notice Kavai's look, and she just does a minute shake of her head. One of the things Dr. Atherton reported is that her research files were also stolen, including our personnel style files.
That's not good.
No, it is not.
And then I imagine Kana beams in front of us.
Yeah. Probably a little discombobulated because you basically went through the motions these past, 22 minutes, and then just, instead of catching a breather, have just been uppercut in the face by being beamed into a conference room with a 4-star admiral who does indeed outrank Admiral Jellicoe, and also a fairly, though oddball but very proficient intelligence command team.
Although she might be discombobulated a bit, she does have enough sense to pay the proper right respect to the Admiral, noticing that she's there. And then, would I have been able to transfer the link images that I was able to do with the transmission onto my pad?
No, because it wasn't fully complete, but you do have it in your brain.
Okay. Apologies, Admiral, Commander. I want to do this before I forget it, and I'll go to the console and just start inputting what I remember from the subspace linkages of where the transmission originated.
Yeah, all of you see kind of like a 2D grid pattern of the Alpha Quadrant and how it's being bounced around, and it literally looks like a Tholian web's worth of a mess before it shoots back and its origin point says Earth. Now, there are a lot of places you would have assumed an attack like this could have come from. Could have come from Romulus, could have come from the Tel Shiar, could have come from, like, Klingon Special... It could have come from anywhere, but the fact that it's Earth in particular, I don't know how you want to feel about this, but there's potentially a resonance that makes this a lot more deeply personal.
For Jaloran, it's one of those moments of you see, like, briefly clicking across her face, like a suspicion seems to have been confirmed, and she's deeply unhappy about that.
Well, Ensign, seems like were at ground zero, as Admiral Jabril kind of speaks up. Commander, I think it's prudent that you add the ensign to your team, given that the rank of ensign presently in this regard would stonewall a lot of their capabilities. Congratulations, you have a field commission of lieutenant junior grade.
Thank you, Admiral. I wish it was under better circumstances.
Putting her file on the command team right now, Admiral.
Thank you, Leora.
And in the footage of just before, would they have seen that it was the comm badge that the hologram had tossed?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You wouldn't have been able to fully see it, but they did go to the left side and do that, and there's really what else would be there?
Yeah.
How many casualties? How many people were in that room?
It's too early to tell, but given Starfleet Academy and its recent strife that it's seen with the synthetic attacks and the shaken faith in Starfleet, we're still looking at a casual count of at least 213, maybe more.
That's almost an entire academy class.
Yeah.
That's awful. Do the medics need any help? I can assist if, at least for a few hours, I would feel horrible if I can't do anything to all the people that still have a fighting chance.
We will get to that, Lieutenant. Commander, this is your team. I expect to be updated at every interval and every breakthrough and every setback. I have plenty of calls to make myself.
Naturally, Admiral, as soon as we have information for you.
Good. Unlike your previous admirals, keep me in the loop.
Of course.
And she will walk out because she clearly has now a lot of her own damage control to do. All of you, if you want to, make just a very general, difficulty 1 insight security roll on the Admiral. You can if you want. This will not add to momentum, though.
I will let people with more intelligence than myself do that.
I rolled a 17 and a 16. I don't know shit.
I got it.
I rolled 1 success.
Okay.
I got 2 successes, a 10 and a 12.
Alright. Most importantly, she does mean what she says. Unlike your previous admirals that kind of definitely gave you a lot more room and length of leash to kind of do what you needed to do, she is not that type of person. She does want to be kept in the loop at every step of the way, even if it is not what she would ideally like to hear. On top of that, she doesn't know how to feel about this team at all yet. She finds them probably to be hyperactive and sometimes not in full commitment to their duties.
Say it, obnoxious.
Yeah. But she also seems like, much like Jaloran, she has taken this attack rather personally, so...
Leora just turns to... After the Admiral leaves, Leora just turns to Jaloran and says, Commander, I can handle updating the Admiral on our stuff if you need to do other things.
Excellent, Leora. Thank you. Please do so.
All right. Leora will open a document on their pad and it's titled "Updates for the Admiral," and it's blank right now because we're just now starting. But yeah.
In the meantime, Jolorn has been pulling up a number of different files, including those that Kavai recently got her hands on. And then she pulls up one in particular, but she's going to start with
two. There were Nightfall and Twin Swords. Which one?
She's going to start with Nightfall.
Okay.
Because that's where her current suspicion is of who the perpetrator is.
Mm-hmm.
So she needs to. She's at that point of when she was talking to the female Q last time, it's like she's at that point where she needs to get the rest of her team in on the loop as far as what's going on and why she knows that symbol and all that stuff.
Yeah. Looking into it, something, because when you had that flashback and eventually reported Lieutenant Fabian, you knew what you were doing, like the implications of like there were only so many people on that team, and that person was going to probably figure out eventually that you were the one that kind of turned them in. But something you do like hear down the pipeline, you have heard like just swore up and down, just like, yep, didn't do it. Nope, this is a mistake. Something's wrong. This is like I didn't do anything, like to the point where it feels like it might be very believable. But yeah, you can just having that context as you kind of explain to the team what Operation Nightfall is, with the understanding probably that the information that is about to be shared does not leave this conference room.
And to reinforce that a little bit, it was like she does ensure that the security on the room is reinforced.
Mm-hmm.
But she gives them the main rundown of what the mission was, what we were supposed to do, and what she has discovered along the way.
Can you remind us of that? Because it has been 2 weeks since we last played.
Nightfall was a mission that occurred during the Dominion War. She was part of a small select team. They were to hack into a
Is that like a listening
trying to
post
remember.
or something like that? Something similar?
Yeah, a listening. Yeah, a secure facility of some sort. I believe it was a listening post. But something went catastrophically wrong. They got there and like everything was not going the way it was supposed to. She goes through first as like what actually happened. And it's like they got there, they were detected right away. There was a firefight, and like a lot of them just barely got away. They had to call for backup. And there was major fallout from this. And it was one of those missions that quickly got covered up. And then she goes through, it's like what she figured out later as far as what went wrong. It was like she had been the one to put together all of the programming that ensured that they would be able to hack in without being detected. And going back through the files later, she pulls it up and highlights where there had been changes. Somebody on the team made a minute change so that when the programming went in, instead of stopping them from being detected, it actually set off the alarms a little bit early. Is that what?
Yep, because computers work off nanoseconds, and if 1
Yeah.
0 is too close or too far, the timing's off.
Yep. So she was able to show it precisely, and because she had the original files still in her databanks, she was able to bring up a compare and contrast and shows like, this is what got submitted in the report, this is what she had originally written out, and she was able to show where the change happened. And she lays out very clearly there was only one other member on the team who would have been able to do this and knew what the coding was and where to find it and how to change it, who had those capabilities. And that's when she pulls up Fabian's file.
Mm-hmm. Who presently is incarcerated at a Federation penal colony. So there's that, but also like this makes the kind of attack even more strange because he shouldn't have access to that type of stuff.
So the long and short of it is we need to figure out what's going on here. Is like, is it actually Fabian, or is this somebody ghosting or like ghost writing Fabian's work? Making it seem as if it was him, but it might actually be somebody else.
Would it be worth it to... Sorry, go ahead.
Would he be able to do all this from prison? Did they check out if... I may have missed that. Did they check out if he's still in prison, or...
It still would list him, like, Jordan, I think you would probably bring up the file just to be, like, sure, like, if there's not some random shit you weren't aware of, but it says he's still incarcerated, so...
Mm-hmm.
That means little. Can I get active feeds?
Active feeds would require technology. Technology is something they don't want him to have access to.
Not even like a camera, like, pointed at the cell type thing?
There might be, but, like, it's kind of more along the lines of, like, CCT footage at a gas station where they can only have so much. Otherwise, you're giving
I'll take what I can get.
too much.
I just want, like, what do you call it? Like, proof of, general vicinity? Yeah.
He's not presently...
Like, something to start off with.
He's not presently in a cell, but, like, flipping through feeds, it kind of looks like he's doing some manual labor that he's tasked with. He doesn't look like he's doing anything other than that.
Well, what I want to do is, as noticing, since we've noticed the flaws in the Jaloran hologram, do I see any similar flaws in this? I'm assuming, I assumed so, but I just felt like I had to ask just to make sure.
Well,
what Jaloran wants to know is what she wants to know and find out is if there's signs that the feed has been tampered with. As in somebody is splicing out something that was there from, like, this is activity that actually occurred weeks ago, but is on a continuous loop. Mm.
So, here is the interesting thing. Yes, it has been cut out, and there is, like, a continuous loop that happens.
Hell yeah.
But it still says, like, there are actual, like, guards and stuff that are presently there that keep monitoring that as well, and there doesn't seem to be any So again,
Oh,
it's
that's
one of those
like
things where you're getting again like two different forms of information.
So
Can we-
where her brain is immediately going is like, if Fabian is not where he's supposed to be in these feeds, then where is he going within the penal colony that allows him some privacy and access to stuff that he's not supposed to? So the guards may be behaving typically because he's still present at the colony, but they don't have eyes on him all the time. So where is he sneaking off to? So she's going to immediately try to trace back, when did these feed loops, when did this cut in start? So it's like she's going to see if she can trace back to when it started, which feeds in particular are affected, how long the loop lasts, and she's also going to ask Kana to start pulling up blueprints, maps, layout of that particular penal colony.
Leora's going to say to Jaloran, Commander, there is I know we have to follow through on this, but there is a possibility that this is a distraction of decoy, that they're using Fabian as a decoy to get further away to make their trail colder, waste our time.
At the moment, yes, this is the only lead we have. So what I would like you to do, Leora, is to see if you can pick up the trail from that bounce that Kana was able to trace, and see if you can follow it further and pinpoint where it may have come from here on Earth.
Can I take Kavai? She's better at Kavai's better at computers than I am.
I actually had a suggestion as well.
What was your suggestion?
I wanted to run an additional background check on all of the staff. Two of you work together on that.
Very well.
Do both.
Understood.
Excuse me, since everyone's getting handed the task, and I'm pretty useless when it comes to, deductions, would it
Not
be
useless.
alright? No, I know. I'm just really bad at puzzles and this kind of stuff. I'm telling the truth. I never was able to guess like an end to a detective. Whatever. What I'm saying is, would it be alright if I go to and help people at the academy? Help the
At the
medics,
moment-
I mean.
She turns to Kavai. Well, she turns to the monitor to try and figure out, were there any physical injuries, or was it self-contained? Was the building just disappeared, or are there any injuries that they're reporting?
There's definitely injuries reported, not from the wormhole incident itself, but when structure disappears, stuff starts collapsing. So there is certain types of triage that could be done. Nothing that is super super critical and life threatening, but enough to where relief wouldn't be unappreciated.
I turned to the commander. We could use someone on the ground just in case.
My thoughts are the same. So she's going to go ahead and give Mira permission to go with specific instructions to keep her ears open. Anything that she hears that might help us here while she's helping out with triage.
Yes.
And for your information, Jaloran, Fabian is on a place known as Penal Colony 507, which is an asteroid within the sort of asteroid belt of the Sol system.
So he's within the system.
Yes. So then, from my understanding, Mira is going to Starfleet Academy.
Mhm.
Kavai and Leora staying here to do background checks and also do any type of like flagging that may need to occur, which leaves.
And tracking that that bounce that Kana had.
Mm-hmm. And then Kana and Jaloran, what do you want to be doing?
I would be
Was it-
bringing up the blueprints that the commander requested of the asteroid facility.
And Jaloran's digging further into the security feed from the penal colony.
Okay. Let's start at Starfleet Academy. Mira, you can beam over there immediately. And there are definitely Starfleet medical and also Starfleet medical students that are kind of getting a crash course in triage. And they kind of are doing what they can, and there is a couple of, as per a loud enough incident like this, something that will follow. And I'm so sorry that I'm adding this into our game.
Paparazzi.
Federation media.
Oh, fuck me.
Joe, you jerk. This is the worst thing you've done to us. With everything you've done, this is the worst.
I love them.
This is gonna be fun, especially with Mira, who cannot hold her tongue.
But there is like some that look much more civilian based. There is a other individual who looks like she's definitely shorter than you for sure, Mira, but she has sort of that reddish brown hair, kind of little bit of waves to it. Is wearing sort of much different. She is wearing kind of a instead of any typical like division colors, she is actually wearing a dark like aquamarine color instead. Very this is easy to tell. Even you're aware of it to some degree. Federation archivist. The Federation media, annoying. Federation archivists a little less annoying because they're more Starfleet affiliated. And on top of that, they are simply here to kind of witness and kind of write down like this is an event. This has to be remembered. This kind of the whole have to write it down in history is just going to repeat itself type of situation. As she kind of notices you get straight to work, and some of the Federation media is getting a little too close for comfort, and she immediately takes like one of the recording devices and just slaps it on the ground. Apologies. They seem to be well, they don't seem to value personal space very much, now do all of you? And they kind of look a little sheepish and back off, and then they still aren't going to back off to the point where they're not going to not record stuff, but they won't be in your face.
Mira turns to her and nods very politely. Thank you. This is really far too crowded for this sort of situation.
Well, you're doing your duties as a Starfleet officer, so I think that is besides the point. You're doing your duty. I'm not a medical officer, but I can provide assistance when and where I can. Just tell me what to do.
Are you sure that usually people are not very, how do I say it, interested in doing
helpful,
what medical
selfless.
stuff does? What?
I'm going to be realistic. I'm not, but I figure if I'm going to be here recording things, I should at least make myself useful.
Fair enough. Well, she kind of she kind of gives her a like tray of stuff. So what I need you to do is I would need you to carry this and make sure that none of this is, shifted and stuff, right? And like just place it near me when I'm sitting near a person. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Great. All right. You're here to, record everything, right?
Yeah, mostly.
Oh yeah, that right. The politeness thing. My name is Mira.
I feel like I might have met you by proxy somehow. My name's Lieutenant Taith.
There is a possibility, but I have a great memory for injuries, not that much for, names. It's nothing personal.
That's fine. I don't take things too personally. I was trampled over by an Orion on Deep Space Nine a couple weeks ago. So,
Two broken legs, ribs, and I think a fractured collarbone. Yeah, got it. Oh, you probably didn't want to be reminded about it, did you?
no. We can forget about that. Right, just guide me through what you need, and you'll go through Starfleet Academy and kind of help who you can. Meanwhile, at the conference room, pulling up the blueprints to this asteroid penal colony. It's a newer one, Jaloran. It's very secure. Impressively so. It also seems like it's taking some from older like Federation Starfleet intelligence. Looks like it's taking some a little bit of like structural design inspiration from like Romulan facilities, which make it very secure and very hard to get out of. And looking through it, you can't see anything like that jumps out as a flaw. Neither can you, Kana. It's like this is the more you look at it, the more the two of you look at it, the more you can't see anything wrong with it.
What about restrooms? I assume that they would have a head in their cell, but when they're working in like the yards or anything, there has to be like a public restroom for them to be able to use.
There is, but it is looking at like again blueprint design. One, there is always like guard monitoring, and on top of that, very specifically, it is low tech.
She's gonna take us.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. She's gonna take a slightly different tact. She's gonna set that aside for now and just kind of like ruminate on it in the back of her head. And she's gonna start pulling up personnel files, who all is working there right now and who else is imprisoned there at the moment, along with any visitor logs. Who's been coming and going from the penal colony lately, and anyone and everyone.
Well, the visitor logs are very sparse.
To be expected.
Yeah. But a visitor log that does like pop up a couple of times just seems like a spouse of like a different incarcerated citizen, and like just a couple of things like standard visitations, and they only last for like the maximum amount of time is like 10 minutes. This facility is very strict.
What about the personnel files and other prisoners?
Other prisoners, there is one that does catch your attention immediately, who has been incarcerated and is been listed as a sometimes prisoners in terms of penal colonies, as you know in intelligence, sometimes for security reasons, don't exist. Particularly, perhaps a Romulan leader of the Tal Shiar that you dealt with in a particular season, at the very beginning.
Oh, joy.
But aside from, beating the ever-living tar out of a few prisoners, mostly been a model citizen. But you also know that Romulans are patient.
Mm-hmm. And staff?
Staff, clean. The staff is very, well thought out. Each one has been personally vetted by Admiral Jellicoe, and on top of that, each member of the staff actually, there's two different staffs, and they rotate out of each other every 14 days, so that way, one, they get to not be on that asteroid all the time, but it's also a good way to guarantee that they don't fall for things like bribes, false promises, or things like that. Because they don't have time to build any personal relationships with said prisoners.
Right. She's also just going to cover her bases, and she's going to look through any incident reports. It's like who's been coming into frequent contact with who, and that includes our prisoner that does not exist.
Mm-hmm. Fabian has encountered Sela at least once, it seems like. Some sort of disagreement occurred. Does seem like he was the offender. And it did start the, assault. Sela did make sure it was ended rather quickly.
She's good at that.
But again, looking, even continuing to look at it, it's the more you're looking at, the less seems wrong.
Have the security feeds turned up anything? When did the looping start?
The looping started a couple weeks ago.
To be specific, did the looping start at the beginning of this latest guard shift?
It started at the end of the last one.
Here's a question. Has there been any communication with the facility since the looping started?
Yeah. It's been coded, very well coded, but there's been communication.
Would it be fair to say I've already sent, messages over, pertaining, briefly to the situation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You probably can't say too much, but the messages you do get back kind of like, thank you for your concern. We did check, double, triple, quadruple check everything. Everything appears to be in order. Followed by like, if you don't like, it's not meant to come off as like insulting or anything, but they kind of follow it up with like, if you doubt it, just make a trip over. You're on Earth. It will take you 30 minutes to get here.
That would be my suggestion to the commander. Is if we can't trust the security camera feeds, we might need to have eyes on.
While this has been going on, Leora has been updating the admiral on their progress, like they said they would.
Mm-hmm.
Like I imagine they have like a direct feed to the admirals, like whatever she has.
Oh, it's like a straight, like, basically like little corner in the screen, like live feed. Like, she is in like multiple conference calls right now, but she is also actively like paying attention because she would rather not get it through text and just actual like a voice.
Yeah, so Leora does like update her, like, hey, we're investigating a facility, basically everything that's happening, but they are also trying to track that bounce that Jordan told him to track.
She does like take the time and like puts her finger up, and it's not directed at you, but it's directed at like whoever she seems to be talking to. Thank you, Commander. I'm glad you're a little more forthcoming than your mother.
Leora just does, like, there's a bit of a twitch of the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going to say something, but like this is not the time. So it's like, you're welcome, Admiral. I believe in making sure everyone knows what they need to know, and you need to know a lot of things. So we're making sure you have that information.
I appreciate your efforts. Keep up the good work. And as you're kind of going through things, Leora, you're also kind of Kavai, if you want to go through tracking where this earthen signal is, you may do so. And that is going to be a roll here.
Could I?
I would like.
Oh,
Go ahead, Silver.
No. Hang on. I'm checking one other thing. Go ahead. Okay, never mind. Can I? Because I did earlier want to try and just rule out staff specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something I could like multitask or
Yeah,
like
you can
just
multitask.
cross-reference?
Yeah, you can do a lot of cross-referencing. And you can do a lot of, and part of it's going to be really easy for the fact that a lot of people, took shore leave, and like half the staff kind of, you had, Alpha and Beta Shift. Beta Shift took over while Alpha Shift was on shore leave. And you almost can guarantee, like, scratch them out of it, because a lot of the locations they picked, just, in terms of, like...
Too much proof they're actually doing what they're saying they're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, a lot of them went to just unwind. A couple of them, have those social media posts that kind of are almost like, this was way too much information.
I also want to mark any, like, staff. Also, some prisoners, just in case, like... I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to word this best. Anyone whose, like, records are dinged for being, like, problems, yes, but also people who, like, look too good. If that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. The...
Doth
protest too much type shit.
Yeah. The executive officer that is in charge of the penal colony does fit that almost model Starfleet officer type of role to a T, and that could just be them, but you've never met them in person, so you don't know. So you can flag that if you want, Kavai. Just understand, given everything that's happening, if you flag that and it turns out to be nothing, they're getting a whole lot of smoke out of nowhere that they weren't ready for what they will feel like is no reason at all.
I will research them on my own thing. I'm not going to bring it to anyone's attention because Kavai always wants to make sure that they have like their ducks in a row before like bringing stuff like this, because this is a situation where they know that they would be over their head for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit more care when it comes to a bunch of people having been hurt over something than if it was like a personal thing that she's just fucking around with.
So then, the suggestion then Kana probably makes for you, Commander, up at the conference room is maybe we just check in person.
I still wanted to check to see if we could track that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is all like I'm trying to go through things simultaneously.
Oh, okay.
Things are all happening like realistically, this attack has happened. It happened 22 minutes ago, and everything that has occurred since, the time has ticked, and it's probably only been like an hour since then. So
oh yeah, this is like a mad scramble.
Yeah, because I mean, a deepfake type of attack like this, you have to try and get as much control as possible. You're not going to get all the control, but whatever you can grab and guarantee control of has to happen in the first like 2 hours. But yeah, that is the suggestion that Kana has made to you, Commander. It's your choice whether you go for it or not.
Something still isn't quite sitting right with her. It's like, even though everything looks like there's nothing wrong, everything has a weak point.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we can't see it from the blueprints themselves. Where her brain is currently going, and is like, if she wants to do a genuine deep dive on the security systems of the penal colony, she needs to be there. Even if it's just to do a walk around or to sit down at a console and be in-house working on it.
Mm-hmm. With that being said, you won't have time to make it to your personal shuttle, but thankfully, the Madrid field office does have a Type 8 shuttle sitting on its roof.
Yep. That's what it's there for. So she's going to put out a quick message to both Leora and the Admiral that she's going to be headed off planet to the penal colony. And that Leora should be first contact on the ground on Earth, but she's certainly going to be reachable.
Yeah.
Would you like Kana to come with you?
Yes.
Then she will do so.
She's also going to put in like as they're leaving the room, Kana, you'll see Jaloran tap in a curious code. And And as we get upstairs to the roof, there's a rather large purple cat waiting for us.
She raises an eyebrow at the cat but says nothing.
All right. With all of that, like, basically clambering into the Type 8 shuttle and taking off basically right away. And you can definitely kind of cheat. You don't necessarily have to do that, but you could probably cheat and just, like, hit warp 2 and be there in, like, less than, 40 seconds if you want. But as you do that, Leora and Kavai, you're trying to track the signal on Earth, and that is going to require a roll, whether it is going to be Leora or Kavai.
What's the roll?
Yeah.
It is.
Depends on.
This is going to be an insight security roll.
All right, that's a 12 for me.
13.
All right. Can I roll to assist?
Yes, you may.
All right. So what's the difficulty?
The difficulty is going to be 4.
And I forget. Can assists benefit from focuses?
Assists cannot.
All right.
Without including anything, I have 2 successes.
I rolled a 1. I can show you the picture, but I rolled a 1. I can take a picture.
Yeah.
I rolled a 1.
All right.
That's a crit.
Yep. So that hits you right at 4.
Do we want to... I'm sure I've got a focus that would help here. If we can get anything more from that, or...
Let's see. Focuses. Honestly, patience might help here. Only for the fact of.
That's season 1.
Oh, yeah, shit. That is a season 1. What focuses do you have now?
Xenoanthropology, linguistics, diplomacy, hacking, xenopsychology, and holoprogramming.
Diplomacy?
You could make an argument for diplomacy, or hacking could both work.
Do hacking, stick with what I know best. Ish.
Right. You're basically finishing off where the trail, like, kind of started going cold. And you do find a blip that pops up. The origin point is San Francisco Starfleet Command.
That can't be right. I think if I was just like, what?
Leora will immediately go to the Admiral and say, Admiral, you need to drop all your calls. We got a big problem. The origin is from Starfleet Command, San Francisco.
Say nothing further.
Understood.
Commander, I will speak with you face to face. And the pad turns off immediately, and she is there because she's still in the Madrid field office. She was just in her own office. I really hope that you are 100% confident in what you are saying.
Kavai is the best there is at what they do, and I'm pretty good too. I will stake my reputation on it.
You don't have a reputation with me yet, Commander, so...
I'll stake my command then.
I fucking hate her.
Leora is just, like, staring straight at her, like, basically going, basically saying, if you need a scapegoat, if this goes wrong, I'll be your scapegoat. I don't care right now.
There is something in her face, but you can't read it. So,
Not trying to.
Starfleet Command, then.
Yes, that's the origin of what we got. It wasn't easy to find. I can show you the work that we went. I can show you the process and everything if you need to see the proof for yourself. I can show you every step we took.
Command.
As they're having this conversation, Kavai is already like double, triple, quadruple checking the fucking work. Can I roll again just to fish for like anything else we might have missed? Because like something about this is so vexing, and like there's at this point where like Kavai is so protective of the team. Like the moment anyone fucking questions Lior, especially, she's just like, no, fuck you. Like,
So you may roll the same type of things again. The difficulty is going to be the same. And I won't.
We
add
have
into
that
it.
one.
So.
Do we have that one momentum that we earned, or is this a new scene and we're done with that? All right. So I'm not assisting. I'm talking to the admiral. So it's up to you.
I'm gonna use my value.
Okay. Which one?
They wanted a weapon, they got one.
Oh shit. Okay.
That works.
Oh my god, I can't read this fucking die. Hang on, I need to use a different one because they can't fucking read it. I don't have my glasses on at the moment. Okay. 13. 2 successes from just straight dice.
Value
That's-
is 2, so.
So that's 4. You made it.
maybe
Okay.
Double and triple and quadruple and quintuple checking your work. It all lines up. It is from like the Starfleet like command, like San Francisco origin. On top of that, now you can't get any more specific than that because it's a big facility.
This is fine.
But you are correct in like there's no mistake there. Something that is really strange though is there again, maybe frustratingly for you, this goes again into 2 lines of information. Either your suspect pool is really small because then it focuses into the Admiralty, which dwindles quite a bit, or it's lower ranks, in which case your suspect pool is massive.
And I have been showing the admiral step by step. Well, Kavai's been checking over it, and if Kavai gives me the okay, like yeah, I got it. Then I'm like, this is exactly what we did. This is everything we've been looking for. You can see here. You can see all this stuff right here. You can see how they bounced everything around. But it is in Starfleet Command. We're not wrong.
Then at this moment, Commander, the Madrid field office, the Sol Atlantic field office, is an isolated Starfleet outpost. It has no affiliation to Starfleet Command, San Francisco, or any exterior outpost base or starbase or starship. It is its own entity.
Understood.
Do you understand what I mean by this?
Out of character, I kind of don't, but Leora probably would. What do you mean by that?
The only sources that can be trusted right now is the Sol Atlantic field office building.
Alright.
that's fucking terrifying.
Would you like me to put us on lockdown, or do you not want to overplay our hand?
Lockdown will play our hand.
Alright. I'll make sure our agents know that everything comes through this office from now on. It usually does, but you know what I mean.
You also have a slight problem that in order to get you out of lockdown, DeLorean is currently off planet.
Yeah, so we're not. So yeah, Leora would know that. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Because you got to remember what DeLorean did in order to bring lockdown out.
Yeah.
Turn it off last time.
Yeah.
And both halves are currently off planet.
Y'all, I'm fucking sweating.
Yeah. So
GM, I'm gonna DM you a question real quick.
this is always good.
But as all of that occurs and you drop out of warp, Kana and Jaloran, to board the sort of shuttle bay that is 507 Penal Colony, we're going to take a break. Because I'm not forgetting to do that this time.
I appreciate that, Joe.
Take a break, hydrate, do human things, do the people. But we will be right back as I continue to add stressors to my players. Welcome back, and we are going to jump straight back into this. As the commander, as Jaloran and Kana jump out of warp at the 507 Penal Colony, Kavai, you want to do one last thing here? Just like a quick...
Yes, please. What do I gotta roll?
This is going to be a different roll. This is actually going to be in... I think... This one's reason security, actually.
Okay.
The difficulty is going to be 2.
Okay. Can I use my diplomacy focus? Because they're so cagey and everything that I know about them.
Yeah, absolutely. In which case, that'll definitely help, so...
My dice are fucking me! Okay. Yep. Kavai's just too salty. I got nothing.
Okay. Admiral
mad.
Hill is, like, one of those people looking in on, like, just checking, like, any type of connection and, like, leave no stone unturned and all of that. She's still an admiral, and they don't typically achieve that rank without, like, doing some things that might be considered distasteful. But on top of that, like, other than that, her record is pretty much exemplary.
If I will just put a pin in that.
Do
That
I
goes on the
see
kid.
that she was checking in on
No.
my mother?
That goes on the conspiracy board. That is her.
Okay, just making sure. Just making
personal
sure.
little... We'll get back to
Meanwhile,
this.
Kavai holding the red string of yarns, like, I guess I'll
Yes.
just hold on to this for a moment.
Mhm.
But at the penal colony here, dropping out of warp and leaving the shuttle bay, you are greeted by 4 officers that have, like, the ensign and lieutenant pips. They are the operation security, and they are not fucking around. They do not have standard just, like, type 2 phasers. They have phaser rifles. They are not messing. A couple of them look like they might even be like the equivalent of like a phaser version of like a shotgun. Welcome, Commander. This is an unexpected visit.
There's been a problem detected with your security. I'm here to check it over.
You can kind of see in their face they want to argue with you about their security being very secure and blah blah blah, but they're like, yep, if someone from intelligence is here, maybe we just shut the fuck up and let them do what they want to do. Obviously within reason, but they're not going to stand in your way that much. Then allow us to guide you to the command center.
Excellent.
So you're walking down, and kind of you also trailing as well.
So is the cat.
Yep. Is there any... just the security systems? Is this something we should be concerned about?
The security systems, and if there is a concern that I need to inform you of, I will let you know.
Very well, Commander.
At this point, it is on a need-to-know basis.
Understood. The lieutenant, of course, is in their conference chambers, dealing with, well, mediating is a better word between a Ferengi and Noskin prisoner. But if you do need them, I'm sure they would appreciate the summons away from such ridiculous tasks.
Appreciated.
They will be thankful. Understand, Commander. Well, we won't interfere. 2 of us are going to be posted at the doors here.
I would expect nothing less.
Kind of just silently go to the sliding door, and 2 of them post up and 2 of them walk off, presumably to do patrols and or just take a break.
Jalord immediately moves over to one of the access points consoles. Aurelia is right next to her.
Yeah, one of the greatest things about this, and you're not sure if this is better or worse, but it's almost... you can almost appreciate the level of low-tech that they've put into this facility to make it high-tech security. You are not looking at something from the 24th century in terms of consoles. You're looking at something from the 23rd.
She's worked with that before.
Mm-hmm. But it's simpler systems, and sometimes simpler systems, while they can be hacked a little easier, they also can't, because they don't have the complexity to do so.
At this point, she wants to do a deep dive on the overall system.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to ply her hacking skills in so much as she's going to pinpoint where the best places are to gain access.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the weak point of the chain? She's going to task Kana with tracing. Now that we've got eyes on the ground, she wants Kana to do not just look at the blueprints, but she wants to compare the blueprints with the feed, and it's like, where is it cutting away into the loop? So to why that particular spot? It's like, is it at a Go ahead.
I think I would have a talent that would help with this. Intense scrutiny.
Yes.
Which talent? Hold on, let me look at it here.
Intense scrutiny.
Intense scrutiny would help, yes.
And remind me real quick what that one does.
I do not remember specifically. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
And then I assume that whatever role you give me, my focus in computers would also apply.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Okay, so basically with intense scrutiny, you are going to ignore resistance essentially. Let me look at it really quick here, because apparently why would things be alphabetized but instead done in ridiculous words? Okay. You have a knack for finding weak spots in arguments, theories, and machines alike, and glean information from them, learning from things about how they respond to pressure against vulnerable points. When you succeed a task of using control or insight, you gain 1 bonus momentum, which may be used to obtain information for the momentum spend. So basically, if you get momentum, you can ask me a question, and I have to tell you.
It's fine, I took it.
Yeah, but to look for something and looking into things, I would say this is going to be this is reason security, because you're looking into, because you've already done a lot of insight into it and can't find, so you need to find the reason as to why something is vulnerable or could be vulnerable.
Alright.
Yeah, and kind of specifically, is going to be doing a compare and contrast thing, whereas the security feed is showing Fabian going one way. They're at this point on the blueprint. What is there? Like, is this a Y fork corridor? And that's why the feed is showing them going one way. Could they possibly be going a different way? That sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So why cut into the feed at this point in time to show them going off to do this particular task? And is this providing them an opening to go somewhere else?
Okay. So making the roll, it's a difficulty of 2. Reason security.
Alright. And I'm going to give you a threat for an extra die.
Yep.
Because this is a new scene and we don't have any momentum.
Correct.
I got a 6, a 4, and a 17. So that would be 3 successes.
Okay. With those 3 successes, you were able to find vulnerable points, and the thing you're finding out to be the vulnerable points, is yes, the security system is old and the technology is a little older to prevent certain incidents like this. But again, it is simpler technology, and simpler technology can be hacked a little easier. That being said, looking into it in terms of reason and such, looking into blueprints and looking into corridors or rooms or something for you to learn, there is nothing there. There's no split corridor. It's just a video loop choosing to be on repeat for the sake of being on repeat.
Well, that's what Kana was looking at. That's not what Jolorn is looking at.
Okay, sorry.
And
the information.
she will go.
Yeah, Jolorn's going to be doing something else.
What are you doing?
So that was Kana's. Yeah, that was Kana's task using Kana's expertise, skills, and expertise there. because Kana's also a programmer hacker.
Mm-hmm.
Jalorn is going to be doing a deep dive with Aurelia into the overall computer system and looking at not just the day-to-day, but all unauthorized access. It was like anything that pings as far as like this should not have happened, and communications to and from anything that seems unusual. And anything that seems to be piggybacking on an authorized signal.
Okay. So there are two ways you can go about this. If you want to do this delicately, you can do an insight security to be very careful to search for things, or you can do presence security and just basically digitally punch shit till something makes itself known to you.
Oh no, that's Mira's favorite thing to do.
We're working on a timeline, and she needs information quickly, but she's also not willing to overlook anything. So that's why she brought Aurelia with her. She's going to be tapping into those prodigy skills to gain access quickly and to everything. She's going to be filtering through everything.
Okay.
So I'm going to be using computer expertise to get an extra die. She's going to tap into computers and mental discipline as her focuses. So I'm leaning towards insight security.
All right. The difficulty here, no surprise perhaps, is going to be 5.
You have a momentum.
On top of that, because people have been so kind, I am going to spend 5 threat. So just let me know if any complications occur. 15 and
Are you okay with me buying a die?
Yep.
Yeah.
Up to the group.
Yeah.
5 difficulty and 5 threat. Yeah, buy the die.
Let's see. That is 6 successes.
Okay. Well, 1. You have a momentum, and nothing came up in the complication range. Nothing rolled 15 or higher.
Nope.
Wow, you're really lucky then. Holy shit. Oh my god, you must realize.
I was right.
The statistical.
I was right under it.
Oh god. Yeah, that.
Usually I have that kind of luck.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Jaloran's taking this a little personally. Going and punching through a system, you do find something that was accessed, like, about 16 days ago. 16, maybe even... It's hard, because of the way, like, this system works and, like, filters things, it could be anywhere from 16 to 20 days ago. There's not, like, a full accurate read, and that's intentional, because if everything is selected in certain, like, categories for this particular facility... you could just narrow out things and just pick them apart, but having it kind of in groupings makes it a little difficult. But you are able to find something that was accessed, And what you find that is accessed is a program was inserted. This program that was inserted has one specific function, and it sits there, and it was meant to lie there dormant alongside every security system until it is basically poked and prodded with a foreign hand. In other words, it was waiting for someone to look for it. And the moment you kind of look for it, there is the sort of yellow alert and hazard sign alarms go off in this facility. And there is an alert that comes up across all screens, which is imminent depressurization.
She's already in the zone. She's got Aurelia working with her. So she's going to be pulling off immediately countermeasures to shut that off and return everything to normal status.
All right. This will not be a difficulty of 5, but this will be a difficulty of 4. And because of the timeline that you are now facing, this has to be daring security.
Will I be able to assist in any way?
Yes, but please explain how you're assisting.
I will be. I assume that as the commander is trying to return everything to normal, there will be like things from the program that will be trying to throw up roadblocks
Yep.
in their way. And so she will be trying to cut those off at the curb, so to speak, so that the commander can focus on what she needs to do and not have to worry about the counterattacks from the program.
Okay.
You also have 1 momentum from your 6 successes on a 5 difficulty.
And I can't use focuses on a assist, right? It's just a straight 20.
It's just a straight 20.
Alright.
Yeah, but I can buy another die, yes.
Yes, you can.
Go for it, you're about to die.
Yeah, so
That's a way to
so
put it.
yeah,
Yes.
same deal. I'm going to be pulling on computer expertise to add another die to the pool as well.
I got an actual 20 on my assist.
Okay. We'll get to that
thanks.
in a second.
That's
Really,
not good.
thanks. I'm also going to pull on the computer's focuses.
Okay.
And let's see. She's also going to pull on a value. Mistakes are how we learn.
Okay. Absolutely.
She's done this before.
Yep.
So that's you're gonna hate me. 8.
8 total?
Holy shit.
8 total.
Okay.
But
So, you will
What's the
succeed, but Vance
That's
is
like 3
gifting me
momentum.
with a complication here.
Yeah.
So, well, you do shut it off, like you were able to, and Connor is trying very hard to like cut off roadblocks, but Connor, what you are finding out is, and you're kind of watching Jaloran actually like in person, watching her computer skills at work, and what you are finding in these roadblocks that are actively coming up, it's a mirror match is what's happening. It's Jaloran basically against herself, and while you are trying your best, it's happening too fast, realistically. Like, you're able to cut through things, but for every, like, 2 that you cut, 3 come up.
And Nana's still a pretty young officer, so she doesn't have Jordan's experience in the field.
Yep. And on top of that, the
And off to one side is like what's adding to all this noise is like you see Aurelia just sitting next to her, and she's doing this really complex set of whistles and trills. And it's like DeLorean and the computer both seem to be responding to this.
as that is all occurring, here's where the complication comes in. Well, Jolene is going to succeed at the whole depressurization of like the entire facility. Your complication does add to she's not able to cancel out all of it now. In which a particular there is a particular cell block that is going to be facing imminent depressurization, and because of how security works, if it is a threat to the internal workings, it goes into lockdown mode, meaning it can't be opened unless it is overridden personally at those particular areas. 14. There is a block. It's basically penal colony block 1A is there are 14 cells there where there are incarcerated citizens, and they are facing imminent depressurization and ejection because, as morally horrible as this sounds, they are broken up into blocks because if something truly catastrophic happens, it really does come down to like it's a small block of this area or it's all of it. And that block is facing that, and it can only be accessed now at that block.
As Jaloran is up to her eyeballs in this programming, she is trusting Kana to know that she should be getting to the door to alert the security officers there.
And
if necessary, going with them.
yes, she will go to one of the cell blocks is going to be depressurized unless we get there to get those people out.
Already moving. I assume
And I
you
just
know how to
follow.
override.
I do, and I will accompany you.
Mm-hmm.
And she just follows the security officer.
As you are running, the lieutenant, who has, it's like a blend, like the stripes are instead of being, instead of the stripes actually being like command red, they are gold. They are the operations gold, but also have like the decorations of sort of like this faded red color. This is probably the warden. As he's running and keeps like, what the hell is going on? I leave my officers alone for 10 minutes. As you
It's going to be one of those walk and talk situations.
as you get to the like once you get to the cell block, kind of you immediately begin the override system. I'm not going to make you roll for this. However, I am going to give you because I do like challenging my players to some degree, an interesting sort of
This is challenge. You read torture.
listen, we call it different things, but
Tomato, tomato.
exactly. But I'm going to place sort of this moral dilemma in front of you here, which is this particular cell block contains your person of interest, but it also contains Sela. Now, you can let them out and not depressurize into space, but keep in mind, Sela is a force on her own, and well, you have, there's the 4 of you here, the warden, the 2 security, and yourself. You have Sela, you have Fabian, and you have 12 other incarcerated citizens that you will immediately have to deal with, all of whom you've kind of seen are kind of at the very least, level 4 threats, which is, risky.
Anna doesn't care. She knows that people will die if she doesn't do anything. So she's immediately going to the console and, with the warden's help, overriding so that we get them out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're doing this, I will go to the warden. Apparently, you had a breach, and there was a computer program lodged in your system that caused this.
Don't understand it right now. This is my main focus. As you unlock, and every single individual escapes, and then basically closing the door, and that block kind of just shoots out into space. And you can kind of see it spin and just explode and shatter into shards into an asteroid further out. As Sela kind of stands up, and a few of the other incarcerated citizens. So I guess we're getting let out on good behavior?
Does Dolores have a way to activate any force fields in that corridor to ensure that the security personnel stay safe and the newly freed prisoners remain where they should?
Just making sure they can't roam about freely.
Yeah.
Yes and no. You could potentially just temporarily put them in a force field in per se the mess hall, and just keep them there. But that requires a little bit of escort work between 4 individuals.
Well, I'm talking about where they're currently at.
Yeah, you could do that. But they are very close to where they almost got sucked out into space. You definitely could do that. You would just have to be quick about it, because not all of them are gonna stay there.
She's currently in the system, so it's just she can't activate it.
Yeah, you can throw it up. I am going to have you do a
Because she knows she threw them in, understandably.
Yeah. I'm gonna say you are going to do this is strictly for reaction time. This is going to be fitness security, and it's gonna be a difficulty of 2.
You have momentum. You have 4 momentum.
Yeah. Four successes.
4 successes. Okay. As you throw up the force field simultaneously, what happens to you, Connor, is you are struck in the side of the face as Sela kind of catches you blindsided and disarms one of the guards and fires at your direction right as the force field comes up, blocking the shot. Can't blame me for trying. Is one of the guards.
And with how quickly that
Yeah.
Yeah, and with how quickly that force field came up, I think Celia wouldn't have an inkling of who's at the controls.
Yeah. Fine. I guess she'll just sit down, but she does have the phaser scatter gun on her. But I'm keeping this. Sure. Whatever. Lieutenant, thank you for your assistance.
Glad to see that no one died, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you might want to talk to my commander who's in the control room.
I will
dealing.
do so.
And I will follow you back.
Yeah, as you head back, back on Earth, having the news that Starfleet, like San Francisco, like command post is like the origin point for this. The Admiral does come up to you, Leora. I understand that you and I are probably not going to get along. But presently we both have the interest of Starfleet in mind.
Sir, as long as you let me do my job and you do yours, we'll have no problems.
And this requires a lot of trust.
Very
The two
well.
of you found the breach.
Yes.
The two of you should head to Starfleet Command under the pretense that you have concerning news to report.
Okay.
And then from there, do your investigations.
What concerning news do you believe we should inform them of?
Attack on Starfleet Academy seems like a pressing topic right now.
That makes sense. Alright, I look to Gavion and I say, ready to infiltrate Starfleet Command?
I think, like, you just get, like, I'm trying to realize, like, most of their, like, clothings don't necessitate, like, having a bag. I can't do what I would want to say. Sorry, my brain, like, completely blanked.
That's fine.
With you.
Okay. We'll head there immediately, Admiral. I will keep you informed as much as I can. And we will try to find this leak.
Time is of the essence, and therefore I understand I've read your report, Petty Officer, but unfortunately transporters are necessary in this regard. And she's not even going to ask further, she is just going to issue a verbal, like, command, and then the site-to-site transport is going to happen from Madrid to San Francisco. As you are transported, neither of you will witness this, but coming up in the computers once again is this sort of Hydra-like Ouroboros that just flashes on the screen for just a second before you both transport. And while you both transport into Starfleet Command, you look to your lefts and right and realize you are not near each other at all.
He's a player. I'm a fucking killer.
Leora just looks left, right, assesses the situation. Okay.
Where are we?
You were definitely at, like, San Francisco Starfleet Command, but where Leora would see, like you can both see the Golden Gate Bridge, but where Leora is, realistically, let's say on, like, the far north side, Kavai, you're probably on, like, the far south side.
Can I contact Kavai on my comm piece, or has that been compromised?
You can try.
I said, Leora to Kavai.
I don't respond right away, and instead, like, can I verify?
They'd be out of range of each other?
Oh yeah, we might be outward.
Respond anyways, and, like, do what you're gonna do, Kavai, because there is a reason why I'm gonna let this go.
Okay.
So
I just want to, like, double check how this could have happened.
very simple for you, Kavai, is there are two answers: transporter malfunction, or intentional displacement.
Leora is going to. Can I send a message to the admiral, or has that been?
You can try.
I send a message to the admiral. I say, base might be compromised.
So here's where I'm going to tip some of my hand here to my players. You send that message and you say, base might be compromised. What the admiral instead is going to hear in your voice is, made it to Starfleet Command.
Ah!
Oh, this fucker. Do I know that he did that?
No, I'm saying, like, the admiral hears that in your voice through their comm badge. What you have sent is not what you have said.
Okay, and they don't, and Leora doesn't know that Leora thinks that they received the base compromise message.
Yep.
All right, I will continue on with that.
GM question.
Yes.
I know Kavai would have personal pads on them at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Does everybody else?
Jaloran does.
Tate does. Tate picked up the habit from Jaloran.
I send you a
Mira
message
does.
there. And there only.
One more time.
Mira does. Oh,
And Canada
for
does.
obvious
Okay, cool.
reason.
I wouldn't have Canna yet, but I send a message to Lyra that way, because I don't trust...
What is the message you send?
We have even bigger problems, and then my location. I also take off my badge and crush it under my heel.
So, for all of you, you do give out your location. That you for sure get. However, for you, Kavai, I'm sorry to say this has been happening steadily.
Yeah.
You do give out your location. Kavai's location has been notified through personal pads. The compromise message does not come through.
I only sent that to the admiral.
No, I'm saying, like, but Kavai also noted it as well.
Oh, okay.
Personal message.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I am infuriated.
Leora, doing some quick math in their head. Base might be compromised. Is it too meta to think that Leora, because we know that this person imitated Jaloran's voice. It's not far out it's not far out of, well, base is compromised, so Laura would go back to their training and be like, gotta go, basically dump the pad, dump the comm badge, and go in on foot.
Okay.
And don't forget, you have and aside from Kana, everyone does have an alternative means of communication.
Yes, we do. So,
but
do you understand what I'm getting at?
Yes, I do.
Do you recall what that communication is?
It starts with a T.
Yes.
Yeah, I know it is.
Just keep in mind, distance does affect that to some.
Over here.
Distance does affect that a little bit.
Yeah.
But on top of that, Leola, I want you to understand, if you crush your badge and crush your pad, Presently, because Jaloran is not close enough right now, you are effectively going full off grid. No one will be able to keep track of you. That includes your teammates.
One of the Aura's values is high cost, high reward. So new value, new me, and so they're gonna do that.
Okay.
They're going off grid, and they'll just go in, and I have to go. So
Yep.
Bye everyone. Don't die in the next 30 minutes, and I'll see you guys next week.
Sounds good.
Bye.
I
As you send that Kavai,
Question.
yes.
Do I have the ability to tell that my personal pad has been compromised in that way? Or, like, what the nature of, like... Full suspicion mode. Like, none of this is good. But Kavai is also incredibly reluctant to get rid of that pad in particular.
Mm-hmm. So what do you want to do, like, realistically here?
Basically... Like, I'm fighting against Kavai's instinct of this personal pad means a fuck ton. I don't want to believe that there's any potential problem with it. Like, if our personal shit is being tampered with, we have an even bigger problem than I thought, and that's like a step, like, Kavai is aware that they are paranoid at this point, and it's just a matter of, like, how to, like, do I either overcome that paranoia or trust that we have this one thing that's okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. So here is the thing. I can't tell you that. You have to make that call for yourself.
Oh, shit. Okay, let me see here. I'm just gonna do high or low here. If it's higher, that's gonna be we go in full paranoia. If lower, we trust it. Yeah, no, she's gonna do the hard thing and break it. It takes a lot longer for her to do that than is probably, like... Yeah. That's, Yeah, that's her novel gone. Like, at least, like, a lot of, like, the last couple, like, fucking recent chapters.
Yeah. On top of that, Kavai, same thing that I told Leora. You've crushed your comm badge. You've crushed your personal pad. You have full-on gone off the grid. You cannot contact Leora. You can't contact anyone else presently at this moment. On top of that, everyone is a suspect within the Starfleet Command area in San Francisco, which equates to 15,000 people.
I know that we have to... I know... I know that Mira was here first. And I know that Liara knows that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna head to her location. And I don't want anyone near me.
Okay.
If anyone gets within, like, whatever Kavai's pheromone range is, people either start just getting violently sick, or they just have to walk away, and they are not, like, whatever levels of paranoia, like, she's feeling, everyone else gets it. They have to leave. It is bad.
Okay. So you just basically, you have a little aura effect that triggers anxiety attacks. Got it.
Basically, this is like, Kavai's been in a bad headspace before, but not like this. This is,
Yeah, I will say, you do know where Starfleet Academy is, primarily because there is a couple of, like, shuttles and, like, shuttle pods that are going, like, doing patrols just to make sure and, like, inspecting damages, basically. And
I
thankfully,
avoid that.
yeah,
I take whatever long way around. I take, civilian paths. I know that I stand out. I am also going to ditch my uniform. If I have to, like, steal something off of someone's, like, clothing line or whatever, like, I'm sure that I could just go into a shop and it would be cool, but no.
Well, I mean, the easiest thing to where you're heading is just there are just certain, like, some, cadets are, like, talking about the, whatever's happened recently, and they kind of have, like, their uniform, like, coat or something hanging up or something, so you can just kind of swipe that as you're walking by.
Specifically, I want civilian clothing.
Yeah. You might be able to find, well, this is really funny. You could probably steal from Federation media.
Yeah, that's funny. I'm going with that.
Okay. Primarily, it's similar to what the Federation lawyer, Loretta Jane Pride, has. It's very similar to that. It's a little less official. It's kind of like a very loose, kind of staticky gray type of, like, cardigan blazer type of situation going on. It's not the greatest, but it does its job.
This does not do anything for my complexion.
As
whatever,
you can find Lieutenant Loris easy enough, because Lieutenant Loris does kind of stand out. But
also, if I find, like, a hat or anything like that,
yeah, you're able to find a hat. It's like nothing impressive, just kind of like a standard
It's a
cap.
party hat. It's a sombrero, even better.
I'm thinking, like, let's say, like, a beanie or something like that.
Easy enough, yeah.
Something I can shove my hair up into.
Yep, easy enough to do. But you are able to eventually run into Lieutenant Loris, who is in the middle of treating an individual cadet that looks like they kind of really twisted their ankle pretty badly, but for the most part is just kind of doing, like, the rounds of, like, checking up on this person's, like, maybe I should treat them, you'll walk, and just all of those type of situations. But eventually you do run into Lieutenant Loris. Lieutenant Loris is actually accompanied by Lieutenant Junior Grade Esme Teeth, who you did meet on Deep Space Nine.
I think, like, there's this initial, like, oh, I'm glad to see you, and then right back to, like, I'm fucking suspicious of everybody. I will very uncharacteristically, just not even introducing myself, just right up to Mira, I pluck their badge off and also crush it.
Hey, wait,
We have
why
to go
is that?
now.
All right.
I'm gonna stay out of this. I'm gonna head back.
Yeah, thank you for your assistance. And she kind of whispers to Kawai, "What's going on? You're
Not
acting
here.
weird." All right.
And you have never, like, everything about her disposition is like screaming wild fucking animal.
Okay. I know I'm not. God. All right. There is a spare room right now that's kind of free. You can explain it all there. But just first, would you please take a deep breath for me for just a second? All right. I can
She does that
practically.
thing where it's like,
I can practically hear you hyperventilating.
Basically-
That's not good.
basically she does like almost start to hyperventilate, but tries to pull it back in. So instead of doing either like hyperventilating or slow breathing, she just holds her breath.
Oh my god, that's the worst. All right.
Yeah.
We come on. There is the empty room. You will explain everything, and please sit down. I think your knees are shaking too. My god, what is happening?
I think you get like just like there's like a momentary like incoherent like word vomit before like I think she will again further invade your space, and if you have your med kit on you,
She does.
I think she just takes it from you and will search for any sort of like sedative that she knows is in there.
Yep, there's definitely some.
Yeah, I'm just gonna fucking steal that and
Self-administer.
yeah. I mean, they've done it before.
Yeah,
Could I? I'm sorry. This is not happening. Not with Mira.
Go for it.
Nobody is taking stuff from her
Yeah.
medicine purse. Whoa, ouchie. I'm sorry. That's her medicine purse, and you're not a doctor. So she kind of very gently, as gently as possible, and she can be really, really tough. She kind of grabs Kavai's wrist. "I'm really sorry. No, you don't like touch, and so on and so forth. But you're not, and I repeat, you're not using my medicine for this. I see that you're. I see that
I'm
you
so sorry. I only got like a snippet of this.
Oh
that was
God,
like
my
a fucking phone call. I'm so sorry.
phone call. Whew, I thought my mic was.
No,
fucking
no,
up.
I am so sorry. I was like, I don't know how to answer this until you guys take. Yeah, it's like the worst possible fucking time. I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
I have character brain going, so like I'm high, like high anxiety, like because of character brain, and then I just need to me like
all of Mira has done is they have apologized in advance, grabbed your wrist, stopped you from self-administering, and saying,
Yep.
"No, you fucking don't."
okay, fair and valid. Thank you so much. I needed a second to like get my reality versus like character brain to like fucking oof.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need a few minutes and switch scenes?
I would actually appreciate that. That threw me off a lot more than I was expecting.
Okay.
Okay,
I've never
we'll switch.
Yep.
I've never had such a high emotional scene be interrupted and like.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll kind of cut that scene where the cut point will be is where you go to self-administer and Mira's gonna catch your wrist. But we'll
Much appreciated.
We will transition.
Okay.
As that has all happened, and the warden is introducing themselves, kind of thanking you for your efforts also, but as you've probably given him the worst news possible, meaning he has, 50 pages to write down essentially in a report.
She will inform him that in the process of resolving everything, she ensured that their security has been beefed up by quite a bit, even within the limitations of the technology. So he it's definitely coming off as a bit of an apology. Like, they don't have to worry about anything breaching their systems anytime soon, because she's put her special touch on it. And she's also taking a copy of that. Not only has she neutered that program, she's taking a copy of it with her to analyze.
All right. As the wardens kind of like pressing their temples together, just okay. I've been stationed here for literally a year, and this is. I'm sure I did something in a previous life to deserve this.
And the only reason we got suspicious was because of this looping of your security feed of this one particular area.
Kind of just looks at it, just like, I don't know why that would be looping.
The matter is currently under investigation.
Because I think you're pragmatic enough, Commander. You keep tabs on all of your Chaos children. Personal, like, you get, like, personal pad and stuff just to, like, probably checking because you're already in a high-strung suspicious situation. But personal, like, like, the sign of, like, says online, basically, for Leora and Kavai, just cuts out and goes dark. And then their, like, comm badge signals also go out.
And then mirrors the badge because Kawai broke it.
Yep.
Yeah, that will be like a couple minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
But the first two, she's certainly gonna notice that right off the bat, and was like, she's just gonna poker face it. She wraps up with the warden. She's also gonna take with her. She will make note of who was on duty when that breach happened to insert the looping.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna analyze that at a later point or on their way back. But she's going to be very professional, wrap things up with the warden, again, apologize for what happened, and she's going to head back to their shuttle. She sees no reason to stay any further, particularly now that she's aware that something is going on back at Earth. So she's got a little nugget that she's working on in her brain. So she definitely wants to head back ASAP.
Yeah. You have been put through, like, in the past, like, realistically, all of these events have occurred in, like, 3 hours. And I'm sure that underlying, like, that brewing storm that is in, like, Jaloran's persona right now, like, this is probably the most personal. Like, this isn't even a mission anymore. This is just personal for the intelligence team at this point. And as you kind of head back in shuttle, are you just gonna full, like, skip and just go as high warp as possible to, like, travel as quickly as possible, or are you gonna take a moment?
The former.
Okay.
She knows she needs to get back. And she knows she needs to get back in range of her team.
Alright. You were able to get back and land on the roof of the Seoul Atlantic Field Office once again. You and Connor are able to depart. and head down. And the admiral is actually in the multiple threat assessment center. Has pulled up everything. Some of the officers, which are technically, under your purview, but she's pulled them in to bring up everything. Essentially, like she's in a similar mindset like you. She's just a little more abrasive about doing it. But is in the similar mindset of I need to know everything, and anything I think might be nothing might be something. So she has the big main view like hollow screen that's pulled up, and it's just got like branching off hollow screens, and she's just standing there, arms behind her back, just reading, observing, and relaying orders here and there before taking note of your arrival. Commander, how is 507?
Eventful. Could we potentially remove to a more private area, Admiral?
Of course. Everyone, keep up the good work. Let me know if anything sticks out. And she'll move off, and then just as the two of you are walking, because I imagine Kana's here as well, as she walks off, I think my office is more of a pragmatic choice in this situation. And
Indeed.
you make it.
Kana, come with, please.
Of course, sir.
And as you...
And when they arrive in the office, Anna will be like the half-step protocol behind Jaloran, kind of like, how an aide is supposed to be.
Yep.
But maintaining a respectful silence until spoken to.
Okay. Admiral Jabril will toss up her own form of command codes, and Jaloran, your sort of like war mode like security is definitely impressive. It is a little hard not to be envious of like the level of security that her codes can bring. So I'll start by saying this, Commander. I informed your XO as of this moment, actually, she wouldn't say as of this moment, as of 58 minutes ago. The Solar Atlantic Field Office is a separate entity from Starfleet entirely, and should be treated as such until I determine otherwise.
I'm afraid it's gotten a bit worse than that, Admiral.
How so?
Are you willing to extend me some trust, Admiral?
I don't think I have much choice.
She turns to Kana. Same question to you, Lieutenant.
Of course, Commander.
As she holds out her hands, one to each person,
Mm-hmm.
an invitation to take hold.
Admiral Jabril is hesitant, understandably. It's not that it's like a full like mistrust of your intentions. She just doesn't know what's going to follow, and that's a fair reason to be suspicious, but she will eventually take it.
Kana?
She takes your hand.
Once both have taken her hands, they immediately get pulled into the conference room mindscape.
Okay.
So it's like they're immediately like starting. She's started that telepathic connection with them.
I don't know what was wrong with my office, but nice touch.
Two of my team members have gone off grid. a third while I was en route back to Earth. That tells me more. That tells me that not just Starfleet has been compromised, but also headquarters here in Madrid.
You know, I was just starting to like you, and you said things that really make me upset.
You also asked me to keep you appraised of anything and everything as it comes
I
up.
am aware of what I said, and, well, I still hold true to that value. I am internally regretting my own... whatever. Either way, your two officers, I assume Kavai and Leora, are the ones that went off grid. I sent them to Starfleet Command because that is where the origin point of the...
Did you receive communication from either of them?
I received communication from Leora. They had made it safely.
At which point, she brings up a view screen. And it's like, it basically shows like an overview map of San Francisco, the headquarters, the academy nearby. It's like she gestures to that so that all three of them are looking at it, and she asks the Admiral, "Where exactly did you have them go?"
I had them go to the eastern side. It's a little more secluded and can enter into Starfleet Command with less eyes to begin with.
So like a little virtual blue flag comes up to indicate where the Admiral was talking about. And then Jaloran half closes her eyes and she focuses a minute. And then the other point, where everybody else is at, starts to flag up. Where Leora is currently at shows up on the map as a red flag. Kavai shows up as a green flag. Mira as a blue flag. And they're clearly not where the Admiral intended to send Leora and Kavai.
Son of a bitch. Okay.
I presume this is why they would have gone off-grid. They likely realized that something has been compromised,
So you're...
and very likely the message that you received from Leora was false.
So we can't even communicate with communicators, data pads. Commander, how are we supposed to trust our team if our team can't even trust our communications? I gather you're a touch telepath, that much is clear. What is your range
Exactly.
for communication?
To the other side of Sol and back.
Would any species influence affect that? Orion, Betazoid, Lethi, any type of external telepathy, would that potentially interfere? Is that something we need to be worried about? Or do you not know?
My particular brand of telepathy is unique. Thus far, I've not found anything that interferes. I have encountered that if I have a bond formed with somebody who is already a telepath or an empath, like Betazoids, Vulcans, it's a bit stronger. Family members are the strongest yet.
Alright.
And I only need to touch you once in order to form the bond.
Great. Regretting this choice already, Commander. So
have a few of my team members.
well, either way, we have to consider that they have realized their danger and actively pulling them out of the field now is almost more risky. Monitor their positions, Commander, with the abilities that you have. Make calls that you think are right, but don't do so rashly.
Should we do a surreptitious look at the infrastructure of Madrid if communications to Madrid are becoming false?
There is a... She's about to say something, and you all are kind of almost like pulled out of the telepathy for a moment, as you get like an alert chime at the door that kind of somewhat pulls you out of it. Does this happen to you all the time, Commander? Because it happens to me as an admiral.
Yes.
She'll eventually place all the security, and then... I understand what you mean, Commander. I will put this in a blacklisted file, and never speak of it again. Before she opens the door, and there is one of the lieutenants of the Madrid field office who was in the sort of MTAC area. Admiral, Commander, you're gonna want to see this.
She puts her focus on the lieutenant. Go ahead.
Follow me to the MTech area. It just started playing across the Federation media, but 2 minutes.
She's already moving.
Across Federation media, there is a voice, like it's being audioed in, and there is a, like, intentionally, like, sort of polygon-shaped hologram that is speaking, and the voice is very distorted. But it's going through the list of... And it then hits the notes of, like, recent times that the Federation has failed. Not the Federation. Starfleet has failed. And then it goes into, like, a little bit of a speech about, Starfleet being idealistic, exploring, helping, all of these things. But the moment we hit any sort of roadblock and, like, screens of the Utopia Planitia attack will come up, and then another screen will pull up of the reports that the Romulan evacuation has been abandoned. We were meant to help Romulus, and yet here we are, isolated. And it didn't start recently. This new Federation is based upon a foundation of lies. And it continues going through, like, questionable decisions that, like, these ones aren't private. These are definitely public decisions that have always faced controversy in, like, Starfleet, because captains are going to do things that are controversial from time to time. But then it pulls up a log from the Dominion War, and as it plays, everyone knows the voice of Captain Sisko. And the thing that plays next is that monologue from In the Pale Moonlight. And as that finishes, that feed cuts out, and all the screens just go blank. But that is where we are going to end this episode. All right. That was episode. The first episode of our final arc, and it will
Aw.
just continue to get crazier from here. We'll probably pick up with Kavai and Mira next week, and we'll just keep going into it. But as per usual, as I've always said in our games and in the game I've run for a stream, is hope this game has been a healthy dose of, maybe not this time, but hopefully it's been a healthy dose of R&R, and we'll see you next time.